All right, gang. Right now, I am super excited to have with me director, writer, creator of what is a creepy, creepy horror film coming out again from Dread Central. Which Dread is, I mean, you're seeing that Dread stinger more and more at the start of some horror films that are getting a lot of attention, and this movie will not be any different. The director, David Andrew James. The film is Bag of Lies. Cannot wait for everyone to be able to find it and see it because it is, without question, one. This thing. I have had several family members with chronic illness and have had to, unfortunately watch them deteriorate, much like our, protagonist is. And
Mm.
the concept of what would you do to save them, or what would you do to, bring them back from the brink of death, is something that is very relatable to me, having watched, their spouses in that situation, and hold on for anything. And it truly is, a situation that, it's hard to comprehend until it is presented to you. But I thought that first and foremost, right out of the gate, the tonality in which your cast that you guys assembled just nailed it. Like,
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's also something that's close to my heart, a little, I think it was a little bit more on the sleeves than I intended it to be. But, my dad and my late stepmother went through that, and that was kind of the crux of where the emotional structure of the film came from. And Patrick Taft and Brandy Botkin, who played Matt and Claire, were just lights out. They were great. I mean, top to bottom, I loved working with the whole cast. So yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
I mean, you just kind of answered my second question right off the get go. Is the emotional level of which it was. I've found through writing, short films of my own and interviewing. It's been hundreds now. Fortunate enough to interview directors on our show, and it does
Mm.
seem like the deeper horror films come from personal experience when it's something like this kind of a tone, where it's not a Freddy Krueger, it's more rooted in reality. So you drew upon personal experiences, which makes the
Yeah,
best.
thank you very much. I appreciate that. And yeah, it was, for some of my constituents who read it early on and saw how we were going to do it in the budget size, they were like, "I think it might be a little too grounded, buddy." But we were like, "Ah, what are you going to do? Gotta lean into it." So we were. We drew on inspiration from films like Hereditary and Signs and whatnot, but we had more of like a Christopher Nolan's Following type budget, so it was a tricky balance, but I think we pulled it off.
Well, the thing is that the movie takes place, really the majority of it takes place in like three rooms,
Mm,
and yet
yeah,
you make it feel so much more expansive when it needs to, and then you make it feel closed in when it needs to. Like the cinematography of the thing um, was really stellar at that. Where there's sections of that film where the house feels very big, and then when Matt is losing his shit, it feels very small. Like he feels the walls closing in on him when he's being stalked, so to speak, without getting into spoilers. It really is like a trip that you guys, were able to do that in, such a small location. What was that like? Like, did you just find a house that, just you were like, that's it, or how did you come across all that?
yeah. It was actually written because the Matt, he was a like in earlier drafts, he was like a famous chef, so they had a lot of money. But I got to give credit to my producer, one of my producers, Victoria McDevitt. She as you know, on low budget stuff, everyone's wearing multiple hats, and one of her hats was locations, and she just found this weird townhouse that I just, I mean, like it reminded me in spirit of the Overlook Hotel, where I was like, there's like some impossible architecture and geometry to this place that doesn't add up. And I was like, well, I think, stop digging, you've hit gold. So so yeah, and her finding that in combination with working with Brant Hackney, my DP, and he really just rose to the occasion, and we figured out exactly where to put the camera at the right moment. And as best I could, anyways. I'm sure, I rewatched it last night with my mom. Actually, she wouldn't watch it alone, and a couple of scenes where I'm like, yeah, maybe I could have shot that a little differently, but she was like, "Shut up! I'm eating popcorn and watching your movie." But yeah, it was a great experience, to be honest. Yeah.
One of the things that is always debated on several interviews that I've seen behind the scenes features on DVDs and stuff is like the power of suggestion versus the power of like let's build this practical effects monster and put it on the screen. And you had the power of suggestion rolling throughout this thing, and it was creepy on its own without the payoff. Did you ever did you know that you were going to show your creature eventually throughout? Was there any like game time changing of mind? Like, did you think, hey, maybe what we have is enough to not show? Like, how was that process?
Oh man, I mean, I think that there were a lot of people above and below me that were like Trevor Thompson, who built the creature. He's an amazing, not only SFX makeup wizard, but also he did the key makeup for the film. And they were like, he gave you gold, man. You got to put this thing everywhere you can. And it was like, it just, Brant and I, we just early on we talked about Jaws, and how little you see that shark, and that just kind of became the mantra. I think the transition between the second and the third act, where Matt goes to Al's house and he goes down to the basement and he sees Peggy, we considered like, maybe we show her in her transformed state at that point, but it was just like, you know what? Let's roll the dice, man. Let's double down. Let's just wait for that payoff, once, a little bit later on. And, I feel good about it, to be honest. I mean, maybe on a bigger budget, we could have done some crazier things, but I think, we hit the sweet spot.
No, I think if anything, like I'm saying, the actor who played Matt, like him going crazy enough, and then the twist of it being Peggy,
Yeah.
has kind of been messy. I'm like trying to ask these questions because I want people to watch your movie, so I'm trying to like not give as many spoilers away. This thing is fresh. It's new. It's not like it's been out for a terribly long time yet. But your twist of it, the Peggy being kind of antagonist number one, so to speak, and then when he sees her in the basement and it's kind of like a light flashes in his eyes of like, well, wait a minute, and then well, wait a minute,
right?
And so then it all kind of flashes. You can see it on his face. Well, what the hell exactly is going to happen to Claire?
Right. He starts seeing around the corner, and
right.
we tried to, well, I mean, again, just doubling down on actor performance carrying it versus showing too much, but using the using the emotional core of like, at the end of the day, this is about sacrifice for someone you love. And so hearing a father who's done that for his daughter kind of being like, hey buddy, man, you get ready to make some adjustments, because this is, this involves you as much as it involves her. Yeah, and speaking on that, on behalf of Terry Tocantins, who played Al, I mean, god damn, he's in the movie for like, I think 15 minutes, but he's hard to beat. When Patrick and I are old pals, but he told him when I was cutting the movie, he was like, how'd I do with Terry? And I was like, you're good, but he stole some scenes from you.
Yeah, did he just audition for the role? Because he does nail it. Like,
Yeah, and I actually, not, I hate, I don't want to repeat myself too much, but I have mentioned this before, but it's worth mentioning again. Like, some people do just kind of BS, about like auditioning versus casting, but I swear to God, Terry was the only guy. That was the only audition I saw. I think a couple more people were in my inbox, but I was like, nope, I delete them. I, say God bless, but that's our guy.
Yeah.
He's a gem, and yeah.
Yeah, that's the concept of, like you're saying, the sacrifice to protect someone that you love
Hmm.
is something that we can all relate to. But the process in your movie of which that sacrifice is made, I have not seen anything like it before.
Oh,
You know,
thank you very much.
the the whole, the movie, Bag of Lies, the whole bag itself, like that is creepy. And then the effect of which, when stuff starts moving in it, what
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
what did you guys use? Did you guys like have like a hole in the floor and have someone like reaching up, moving it around, or did you throw something in there to get that effect? What did you guys do?
Well, the specific one where there's an arm coming out of it, it actually is Brandy herself submerged in the
In
bag.
the bag? Okay.
Yeah, we had two bags made, with for a backup, but we ended up not wanting to cut it up and do tighter shots, for to the effect that you're talking about, to making people claustrophobic being tied up in bags. But it was this weird thing on set where I think there's 5 or 6 shots where the bag's moving,
Mhm.
and everyone like different people on the crew were like, "Give me a turn," and I was like, "Yeah," like at one point, like I think the opening shot of the film is Spencer Frazen, who's one of the producers on the film. He was like, I want to do it," and I was like, "You got it, man. That's awesome." So it was, yeah. I think again, on like on a more traditional Hollywood sized budget, you would kind of you know double down, do more like controlled close ups where you just got someone off screen with an arm kind of coming out, but
Right.
it just for a reason I don't want to spoil, we didn't chop up that second bag, but hopefully that entices people enough to give it a watch.
Sure. The the way that Claire makes herself known, and even to that, Peggy too, the whole deal is it reminded me almost as a continuation of Stephen King's Pet Cemetery,
Mm.
where you're making the deal to get this, you know, person back that you love or save them outright. Was there any like influence, whether it be like folklore or story you've read or movie you've watched, or anything that you have the emotional level, which you've talked about that you have gone through, but then the horror movie element to this thing is like deal at the crossroads type of a premise. Where did you kind of draw that from?
Well, first and foremost, we just wanted to be original. But now that you mentioned Pet Cemetery, I'm like, shit. I got a couple of writers who
I
I
mean,
got a
it's no,
couple of
it's
co-writers. I got to call to fire. No, I'm just kidding. But no. So Nick Laughlin, who he was one of my co-writers on the film, he actually wrote and directed a no-budget short film called Bag of Lies 3 years ago. And I played the Matt character in that short. So you can find that on YouTube and laugh at my acting talents in comparison to Patrick. But, but yeah, so the original premise had already been there, and then Joe Zappa and I, one of the other co-writers, we had gotten Nick's blessing to rewrite it as a short film that we were going to remake with a budget, go to festivals, do the whole 9 yards, and eventually make a feature. And then when we got the opportunity to bypass that step, the three of us kind of tag teamed it. Um, I fired myself for a little bit and let them cook. And then eventually they had to move on to bigger and better things. And I wrote the final draft, which is why they kind of got Roger Avery'd in the credits. You know, they get story by credit and I got writer director credit. So, you know, they've been leaving dirty undies in my front lawn as protest for that. But yeah, so that's, you know, that's how, but the jumping off point for every genre element was like, let's try and not repeat ourselves, or, you know, not repeat ourselves, but let's try and just be original. Let's try and not steal anything from anyone. We all somehow forgot about Pet Cemetery, so I guess we did a little bit, but, you know, nonetheless, it was, yeah, you know, kind of.
The thing, the fact of the matter is, man, is if I didn't throw Pet Cemetery in there, there's somebody out there somewhere that's going to claim, as you know, everybody always does, is, oh, he obviously got that from wherever, and it doesn't even, you know, resonate with you. Like you're saying, like you guys didn't even think about Pet Cemetery. It's all subjective, but the core of the story is truly what matters, and Matt doing what he's doing is really what matters, and then the consequences that come with that are what make the damn thing freaking scary. The bag aspect of it, I can honestly say I've never seen before, and that in itself is so twisted to think of, when the process of which someone would have to marinate, I guess, for lack of a better term, in
Yeah.
a moldy, gross burlap sack, like doing that to someone that you love, and hoping that whatever is going to happen happens is pretty freaking wild.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Did you guys on set, was there a scene or a day that stands out to you? Like, was it the, you know, the crux of the thing once Claire's transformation has happened? Because that scene, that whole sequence is terrifying. Like watching it just on a, you know, on a screen with headphones, the scene with the dresser got it, like it legitimately made, like I was like, holy shit, I did not see that coming. Like, the was there a particular like sequence or day or anything that really stood out to you? Maybe there's more than one that really stood out to you, like filming, directing the thing.
Well, I mean, to speak to that sequence, so the cat's already out of the bag. They gave us a 1 week theatrical run at the Lemley out in Santa Monica. So we did a Q&A there. So I think I'm allowed to speak on this now because it kind of got dropped during that. But so Brandy, you know, I mean, again, this is like more of a behind the scenes spoiler. I hope it doesn't ruin the movie for anybody, but Brandy actually got sick the day that we were supposed to do the monster stuff.
Yeah.
So it's actually my production designer who is playing the monster part of it. And she's also a great actress herself, Stefanica Kay. I don't think she's gotten the shot to do features as an actor, but she's done some beautiful work on shorts. But so she, you know, is kind of like playing football, you know, it's like next man up, you know. And so she, you know, she just stepped up and put it on, and, you know, but because of that, like, you know, Brandy is very like, she's a, you know, she has a theater background and she's, you know, a little bit of a contortionist. So we had like a lot crazier things planned, but we had to like basically adapt that whole sequence on the fly around Steph's capabilities. So that was like a huge challenge. You know,
Can imagine, yeah.
yeah. But I will say, like, the scream that Steph let out when she, you know, for that first reveal shot, like, we molded the sound effects around her actual voice. So that's actually Steph's scream in there. But yeah, and then when she has dialogue as the monster, obviously we dub that with Brandy. But and Brandy, she was ready to, you know, put me in a headlock and give me a noogie. She was like, "Can you please reschedule it?" And I'm like, we've got $12 in the bank and 2 days left at this house. What do you want from me? But yeah, no, it was so that was a big challenge. And then the other big challenge directing wise was so the sequence around the hour, or the scene around the hour mark, where it's day 3, everything is supposed to have worked at this point. Matt can't find Claire, and then he goes into the basement, and she seems normal. That whole 5-page sequence. So we we had just wrapped shooting another scene down there, and Patrick came up to me. He was like, he heard something from the first AD, like, all right, scene 67 is up next. And he came up to me and he was like, we're doing that today? I was like, yeah, man, like right now. And he was like, yeah, I don't know my lines. And I was like, all right, don't worry about it. So I was like, I pulled him and Brandy aside and I was like, all right, go through wardrobe and just run your lines for the next 25 minutes. And I'm just going to block the scene without you. Just Brant and I are going to lay down marks. And just, so that's exactly what we did. We just lit our shot list on fire and created this dance, of the two of them, running through the whole scene. And I mean, God bless him for getting through. I mean, like, you wouldn't have known, I think, watching the scene that he, 40 minutes before we started rolling, he wasn't prepared. But it's a testament to how good of an actor he is. But yeah, that was those are the two big, like, on the fly moments where I was like, you know what? I think I can do this.
Such a change on the fly like that. When it came to the practical effects makeup, was that a challenge? Was any of that molded, for the original actress, and then whoever was applying the makeup having to swap it out a little bit for the late minute sub?
Yeah, absolutely. It was, specifically, so Brandy has more defined cheekbones, and Stefanica has a more defined jawline. And so there definitely was a curve for Trevor. But, I mean, just like any brilliant man or woman, brilliant artist who knows what they're doing. I mean, he just, like, he solved it. I mean, it was crazy. And he somehow, I don't know what I mean, I don't know if he's, shoving paper towels and popsicle sticks in there. I don't know what he did to make it contort to her face, but I mean, it was, she came down out of makeup and I was like, oh wow, all right, we're not in trouble. This is great. So yeah, it was it's quite the experience. But yeah, that's I think that's part of the challenge of, like, I think we had 12 or 13 days to shoot a 72-page script. And I'll make the first big reveal here. Here's something new for your podcast. So the official production budget was $42,000.
Wow.
So, that, like, keeping that in mind, I think, that's, I mean, I'm really proud of the movie, but, like, when it was all said and done, I was like, how much little did we spend? Okay. All right. Very good.
Well, no, it's a testament to you guys, because you're seeing the same thing in indie horror, like, a lot. Specifically, I think the guys who really took the world by storm last year was, Damien and David Howard Thornton with the Terrifier crew.
Yes.
With the budget, and then the response that movie got theatrically. Like, indie horror really has become the heart of the genre, because you're getting to see not mass marketed, assembly line ideas that are getting, directors the opportunity to showcase their original ideas. There's nothing wrong with, like, Conjuring 5. I love Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, but every once in a while, it's nice to be able to get, exposure to movies like Bag of Lies that are, totally, different and totally original. That's one of the things that they taught us in film school, is you have to consume as much as possible from as many avenues as possible. Otherwise, you really kind of do get into the assembly line of things as far as like, okay, let's just turn on, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street 7. Okay, it's how's Freddy gonna kill him now?
Right.
And I love all horror films, but when more people get the opportunity, I mean, you did it for 42 grand. That's amazing. And the fact that you got a theater run it down south for a week, and Dreads, promoting the thing and everything else, like, it's awesome to see, man. It's a good time for indie horror.
Oh man, I appreciate that so much. And yeah, absolutely. I think to your point, like, the get the giving more people a shot at doing things who don't have the same influences is very important. There's I remember there's a film from I think 2019 called The Vigil, and it's like a Jewish horror film, and it's one of the scariest movies. It was like Hereditary was the year before, and then that came out the next year, and I was like, these are the budget levels are wildly different, but this is just as scary. And
Huh.
and I had never seen a Jewish horror film before, so it was just this whole other someone else's take that got a shot. It's like this is great. Someone leaned on their personal experiences and did
Yeah.
something original, and I'm here for it.
The Your creature design, she, you know, there's a voiceover at some part where it's talking about like how mold grows, invades, and like spreads
Mm.
the movie. And so like she almost came across like when you see like the back of the head, like kind of like mold or fungusy, but
Yeah.
like she is all kinds of like different components of your worst nightmares. Like where did you dream that up? Like how it was going to look?
My nightmares. No, I'm just kidding. It was. We did our best job to describe it in the script for Trevor, but and we did collaborate with a visual artist for like a rough sketch early on, and we, in combination with the script and that image, Trevor was like, "Okay, cool, let me cook," and it was like a day later, he was like, "I'm thinking this, this, and this. Use your imagination." And I was like, "I don't have to because I understand." So it was, but yeah, just kind of like, again, kind of using um, letting Claire's dialogue kind of be um, the the Ides of March, so to speak. Beware of what's coming, but so people don't realize what they're hearing is going to, it's foreshadowing without them realizing it. And so that was, it's just a testament to Trevor, really. I wish I could take credit, but it's just that was a big lesson learned. Was like, sometimes you gotta just hire people who are just know better than you, and get out of their way. And so that was a great time.
Did you, you know, being a director is a hell of an aspiration to want to be. Did you always know that you wanted to be a filmmaker?
When I was little, I wanted to be Batman, and then when I was 18, I was like, oh, you know what? I actually want to be Tim Burton. And then when I'm
Nice.
21, it's like, oh, I want to be David Fincher. So the higher up, the older I got, the more I understood what I really wanted to do. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I honestly, personally, like, I'm a bit of I'm a master of none. I like to, like, I've key gripped a couple of movies over the last couple of years. Just that practical um, application of achieving, like, grips make movies, to be honest. So it was, you can't achieve beautiful aesthetics without. So, learning that side of it. I also do a lot of corporate work as a DP. I've shot some shorts and some stuff as well as a DP. So I just try, and I also act, as mentioned. I was in the Bag of Lies original short. So yeah, just trying to um, learn a lot of different disciplines that can influence how to direct. I think that there are, um, I've watched a lot of directors who are more, I think focused on like, um, they all have their department that they're more interested in,
Mhm.
more so than any other. But I like just giving. I like trying to be a practical technician. If the script's good enough, you've already done a decent amount of work. So. Um, but yeah, it's something that I really want to continue to do, and I hope this thing's good enough. I can get another shot. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. But yeah.
It definitely, I mean, you definitely even do Bag of Lies too, honestly. Man, the horror community, we love sequels, man, and there's no clear cut uh, end to the deal making. That is for sure. You definitely, have that scene, the last scene when he is propositioning the bartender, where I
Mm.
mean, this it definitely I could see somebody else making this deal and somebody else having to deal with all the ramifications of what comes within.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny you mentioned that because I caught up with my old pal Joe Zappa, who again, he's one of the co-writers on the film, and so last Friday, 6 hours and a bottle of Kettle One later, we were like, oh, we have an idea for a sequel. Like, let's go after it. So where there are talks. I hope that they go well, and I would
Right.
love to revisit the material. And I think that we've we found another way in that once again is emotionally authentic. So now it's just a matter of do does will the first one do well enough that they'll roll the dice on us again? I I'm gonna do my own ritual with a bag to make sure that happens. But yeah, I'm excited.
Right on, bro. Well, tell everybody where they can find Bag of Lies now.
Yeah, so you can. It is. It's on. You can find it. You can rent it or buy it on Apple TV,
Mm.
um, Vudu, Amazon Prime, and I believe a couple of other places that I'm not prepared for. That's embarrassing.
No.
But those are the big three. And then I believe June 12th, the Blu-rays go on sale. You can pre-order them now. Once again, probably on Amazon for sure, and a couple of other spots. And then I believe July 5th, it'll be streaming on Tubi. So you know,
Nice.
I'd love everyone's money, but if they want to watch it for free, they can watch it on Tubi in July.
Tubi has become like the horror guru, man. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
have they've like all of a sudden said Shutter and Screenbox, like, hold my beer for a minute. Like we're
right.
we're about to make an impact. But yeah, man, everybody go out there. Don't wait until it's on Tubi. Rewatch it on Tubi. Go out there, at least rent Bag of Lies, in the next coming, weeks or months, whatever. But make sure you check it out. Don't let it slip by because it is a film that is absolutely going to leave an impact on you. It is a testament. Again, David said in the interview, 42 grand. It's a testament to what indie filmmakers can do on an indie budget and make it, you know, honestly, I'm not saying this just to blow smoke up your ass. Like you made 42 grand feel like, 4 mil in this
Uh,
thing. So, absolutely outstanding job, man. And we look forward to seeing what you have next. Where can everybody, keep track of you if they want to follow your work and what you got cooking?
so I am a little private. I only have an Instagram where I just kind of dork around from time to time. But the handle is Ernest Trippingway, which is also embarrassing. But so, eventually I'll be, as the summer rolls out, I'll be making more posts about Bag of Lies. And then when we have an announcement to make for the next thing, that'll be where you can catch it. And yeah, but thank you so much for doing this, man. I appreciate it. I'm very humbled, and I'm really glad you liked the movie.
No problem, dude. And next time you guys stew something up, we will definitely have to get you back on.
Bag of Lies 2, Sack of Truth. No, no, but yeah, absolutely. I love the show. Be an honor to come back. Thank you so much.
Right on.